Well, hello everyone, and you join us here today for a little trip up into space, because we are going to be talking about the Fortis S41, a new release from the revered maker of space watches. Tom, Fortis, is that a name that rings any bells to you? Have you heard of them before?
Yeah, I do know the name, but I couldn't tell you what their flagship watch is. But the name definitely sounds familiar.
Yeah, they're a little bit like Bowling for Soup. I remember that they existed, but I couldn't tell you any of their songs.
Great big bassist.
But now they're trying to change all of that because they had a history that was pretty impressive, and then they've had a period of difficulty, and now they're trying to get back on board with all the good stuff.
Classic watchmaker story.
Oh yeah, rags to riches, the return of the hero, David and Goliath, all of that. So we can go way back. Fortis was founded in 1912, so not that long after Rolex. And one of the earliest things they did was team up with watchmaker John Harwood to make the first automatic watch in 1926. You think the first automatic watch is the Rolex Perpetual, but it wasn't. It was these guys. 1962, this is when we start going into space, they made the Spacematic, which was tested by 7 astronauts. 1994, the Russian Space Agency chose Fortis as official supplier. And in 1997, it became the official watch supplier of the German-Russian space mission Mir 97. It's also been supplied to many Air Force squadrons, so it sort of begs the question, why have we not really heard of them?
Yeah, I feel ashamed. That's some cool credentials there. I feel bad for not knowing more about them.
Yeah, relations with Russia aside, the watchmaker is Swiss, so stands to reason that really perhaps more people should have heard of them. So here we get to the S41. This is a rejuvenation for a modern era of space travel. What do you think of it?
I think it looks great. I was really intrigued by it when I first saw it. It looks quite serious and functional, but not overwhelming and unreadable and like it would be understood by very few people. It looks like it has a purpose, but it still looks quite casual and sporty.
Yeah.
I quite like that blend.
You showed it to me. When you said Fortis, I'll be honest, I thought, But when I saw it, I thought, In fact, I think my exact words were, that's actually quite nice.
Yeah.
Very interesting dial. Takes a lot of inspiration, I think, from the Omega Alaska project with a very clear looking dial.
Yeah.
Before we go through what they did to it, why don't you give us some of the hot specs?
Yeah, so all the important numbers that everyone's really interested in. 41mm diameter, 200 metres of water resistance, and 20 atmospheres of space-tested pressure, 60 hours of power reserve, a stainless steel slide clasp with quick adjustment, which is always very nice, and a 21mm lug width. But suspiciously, no thickness measurement that I could find. So I think this one might stand quite tall on your wrist.
Yeah.
Might be a bit of a chunker.
I'm hazarding a guess that it borrows from the ETA 7750 or Solita equivalent, and those are usually quite thick. So keep that in mind if that watch does appeal to you. I did notice as well, so 200 metres of water resistance is the equivalent of 20 atmospheres, but of course it has to be 20 atmospheres of space pressure, because this is a space watch for space people. They don't call it a sapphire caseback, they call it a...
Yeah, so they call it a space window, but I believe that is in reference to a small white circle around the chronograph wheel. Yeah, but... Bit strange, yeah. Space window. So you got a space window, you got space lugs, you got a space bracelet. It's just a space watch for space people.
Yeah, to wear on your space wrist.
Yeah, on the way to your space job in your space car.
It sounds like the Jetsons, doesn't it? So, talking about space, it's very clearly this watch is about space. They've been to space before, and this watch has been designed for use in space with a space rocket. So, what kind of stuff have they done with this watch that actually makes it earn the credibility of being a space watch?
Yeah, so this is the first caliber to be tested in the stratosphere. It's the Verk 17 movement, and it was sent up into the stratus on a balloon by the Swedish Space Corporation. And up there you'll find similar conditions to space, almost a vacuum, very low temperatures, you get the full radiation of the sun. And it was also impact tested as well, I think inadvertently, when the movements crash landed back to Earth into a large tree in the far northern reaches of snowy Sweden. And the tree had to be cut down in order to retrieve the movements.
Oh, that's a shame.
Oh, they got loads of trees up there, it's fine. I'm sure it was made into the finest IKEA furniture. Yeah, and all the movements were working perfectly, or as expected. And so that's great. Slap that on the back of the case, space tested, and away you go.
Well, in case anyone is wondering why on earth this video is titled how it is, when I saw the video of these movements being tested in the stratosphere, they are literally just strapped to a piece of plastic that's hanging on the edge of a balloon, which put me in mind of Tom Scott's very popular video. We sent garlic watch to space and then ate it.
Garlic bread.
What did I say?
Garlic watch.
Oh! We sent garlic watch to space and then ate it.
You just said it again.
Did I just say it again?
Garlic bread.
Sent garlic bread to space and then ate it. Jeez.
Christ. Garlic watch, though. Good Romanian watch brand there. Founded in Transylvania.
Well, maybe a Tom Scott Fortis collaboration for the future.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's a thumbnail I've seen many times. I've never actually watched that video though. I'm not sure if Tom Scott went to the Swedish Space Corporation in order to conduct that experiment. I'm not sure if they specialise in sending small things up into the stratosphere on balloons, but yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, as I understand it, the motto for their company is "We'll do anything you want as long as it's strapping it to a small piece of plastic and sending it into the stratosphere on a balloon."
I think they're actually up there to look at the aurora because I think you get good views of it up there. So very nice.
For scientific reasons, not just for the
Instagram, yeah.
The world's most expensive Instagram account. This just in, Tom.
Go.
I'm going to correct myself. I said this movement was going to be based on an ETA 7750, but it turns out it is as you said, the Verk 17, which is an in-house caliber, column wheel and all that kind of stuff. Still not quite sure how thick it is. Let's assume that it's fairly thick. I'm sure we'll see in the footage what kind of a ratio it looks like. But yeah, so it has a little something extra in there for you as well.
Yeah, cool.
So it's being tested in space, and the whole point of this is to make sure it is absolutely perfect in terms of its functionality for the Virgin Galactic flight. I would say if I were a passenger or a crew member on the Virgin Galactic flight and it got to the point where I needed to test its 200 atmospheres of space pressure, I'd be a little bit more concerned about my survival than whether or not my watch was working. But nevertheless, we have seen in the past in Apollo 13, the watch has been a functional tool in bringing everything back down to Earth. Who knows? Nevertheless, it's quite a nice dial you've got here. And it seems those markers on there that glow with luminous paint are attributed to the various stages that we discussed of the Virgin Galactic spaceflight.
Yeah. So, the lume on the dial there indicates various space travel times. You've got, I can't remember what they are.
You've got the mated climb, the boost, 0G, and the glide back down to Earth. So, follow me through on this one. The mated climb, when the spacecraft is strapped to the mothership, the aeroplane, that takes it up a whole bunch of the height. That takes 60 to 90 minutes, and that's measured with the minute counter. You can see it highlighted in blue on the 6 o'clock counter. You then have stage 2, which is the boost. The spaceship is released and it propels itself upwards with a rocket, I think. 3.5 times the speed of sound. That takes 90 seconds. What you will notice is the boosted part of the chronograph only lasts 30. So they kind of expect you to do 2 laps of that 30 seconds. So it goes through it, around the other side, and then through it again, which takes you 90 seconds.
Yeah.
And then you get 15 minutes of 0G time, which is recorded with the minute counter at the top. Which also has a very Alaska Project looking hand, I might say. It's quite space capsule-y.
Yeah.
So that's the obvious stuff that's inspired by space and space travel on the dial, but it gets a little bit more subtle than that, doesn't it?
Yeah, so like you said, there's that conical flask-shaped hand on the chronograph minutes. There's also some sort of space capsule-shaped chronograph pushers, and there's a moon dust-inspired texture to the dial as well, which is very nice. And you can get that in white, grey, a different grey, and blue. And the case and bezel are both made from recycled stainless steel as well, so that's pretty cool. So yeah.
It also says on the inside of the rehaut, you might not notice this, it's quite hard to see. German accent at the ready, Tom, you ready for this?
Go for it.
Der Himmel ist nicht das Ende der Welt. the sky is not the end of the world. And that correlates with something that a lot of people who go to space say. When they see the fragility of Earth from a distance, they see that edge of space and they realise the planet they're on is incredibly finite. It gives them a certain extra sense of mortality,
right?
Not just as an individual, but as a species in a world. So nice that they've chucked in that extra little bit of recycling with the steel there to touch on that. But I think that my favourite thing about it is it just seems like an attractive watch. They're not taking it too seriously, I don't think.
Yeah, it definitely seems to me like a futuristic watch, in terms of its inspiration, but also in terms of kind of forward thinking and in an interesting, purposeful way, not in the way of like slapping an NFT on it and saying, "Whoa, contemporary." It actually feels like they're kind of working towards something that might be useful in the near future. So, I really like it.
Yeah, Godspeed, Fortis, and with this very much fungible token, we look forward to seeing what they do next. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like and a subscribe. Let us know what you'd also like to see us talking about. Until next time, see ya.
Bye-bye.